Welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast, where we're going to take a look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Dwayne Weed.
Hello and welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast. I'm in downtown Howard City. I'm sitting here with Jackie Bissonette from Century 21 Rockgate, and thank you for letting me come into your office today.
Thank you, Dwayne.
And this is new. You had a location up on M46, and you moved here in what month?
We just purchased this building in December of last year.
Okay, 2022.
Yes, and we moved here in January and February, so we did a little renovation.
Yeah.
Painting, floors, simple things, but...
Making it look good. Making it look good. You're in real estate, but before we get to that, can you tell me a little bit about Jackie growing up? Where did you grow up, and what brought you to this area?
Okay, great. Well, I grew up in Bay City, so I was born and raised there. When I was in my mid-20s, I got a job with Consumers Energy, and that took me around the state. So from there, we lived in Houghton Lake. We did a time in Jackson.
But
Flint.
not the penitentiary part.
No, no, steer clear from there.
Sorry about
That's
that. But,
okay. Yeah.
Sometimes we got to add a little humor in life. A little
That's
humor
right.
in life.
Yeah, for sure.
So from Jackson.
Yeah, we just and then we took a little time down in Houston, Texas, and then in 2012 we came back to Michigan. Had left our corporate jobs and we're looking for a new adventure, and that's when I got licensed in real estate.
So currently you're up in Canadian Lakes, and you've moved the business here to downtown Howard City in January, and you're still going. Nothing's changed except your physical brick and mortar location. Tell me, how did Jackie get into real estate?
Well, we bought a farm in Lakeview in 2012, as I mentioned, and we kind of started doing that. And then I wanted to have some mad money, Dwayne. So I said, I talked to my husband, and he had been licensed in real estate throughout the years. And I said, I think I'm going to get licensed in real estate. And that's what I did. And then I just worked for a couple local brokers. And then in 2017, I got my broker's license. And then we opened, at the time it was Rockgate Real Estate. And then we franchised Rockgate into Century 21 Rockgate, actually in December as well.
Okay, December of 2022.
Yes.
So, things change, but selling homes, helping people is always the same.
It is. It's what it's all about.
It doesn't matter that, necessarily the name on the door, though it does matter, but it's all about helping. And have you always had that, I guess, that giving heart, wanting to help people?
Yes, I think it is what I've always loved to do, because in human resources, we're helping people. And in real estate, I was able to transfer those skills very easily because, again, it's helping people. It may be just offering advice. It may be answering questions, or it may be helping them find the next home or sell their current home.
Diving in a little more to try to get to know you a little better, who in your life has inspired you the most, and why?
Well, of course, my parents. My mother, she was a working person and ran a business, a home-based business. And so she influenced me a lot to get out there and do it if I wanted it, I would have to work for it. So working hard was instilled by my parents. And then really it was a boss that I had at Consumers Energy. And he was one of these people that always stretched me into areas I wasn't familiar. So whether it was employee relations or compensation or payroll or coaching, whatever those skill set required, he would push me into these areas I wasn't that familiar with.
Sure.
And then give me a soft place to land if I made a mistake.
Well, if you don't make mistakes, you're not living.
That's right, or learning.
Yeah, and it's those mistakes that define people. Hopefully we don't make them over and over and over again, but sometimes it just comes around to that. So if I was to ask you that question again, but rephrase it. Who today continues to influence you?
Well, I would say my agents inspire me every day. And probably my peers and people like that, the young people inspire me today to do more. I came from an age long ago with no computers, right?
Sure.
And now we're in this digital age.
It's on our phones.
Yes,
it's on our phones. We can't get away from it.
So I think that the younger people inspire me as well, actually.
Well, I know that because my business has always been technology, I've always had to keep up with it. But even at times, I feel like I'm falling behind, and like, whoa, I see somebody doing something. I'm like, that's been out for a while. I'm going, well, my students tell me that maybe I'm not as trendy as I might think in my head, which is fine. Howard City area. When you first put your business, because when you first came here, you started at M46.
I did, in Howard City.
So out of all the places in Michigan that you could have picked, what drew you to put it there on M46 at the time?
Howard City is a wonderful bedroom community for Grand Rapids. So when you look at housing, for example, there's a lot going on here that we don't really see or notice to somebody that might not be in real estate. So for me, it was a good location. It was part of the Tri-County area, so you're hitting on 3 different counties. It seemed to be an area that was growing as far as housing and the downtown communities, as many suffered after 2008. This downtown community was coming back in a strong way.
Well, it's nice that you kept it here, because I guess when you were looking at expanding, and the downtown of Howard City is expanding. There's a lot of new businesses here. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of activities. I know that they try to have things going like music in the park. There's music down here at Pizza Cafe every Thursdays, and in the summer, it pulls it out to the street. So it's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. If I was to ask you, why should someone discover Montcalm? How would you answer that?
Oh, I love Montcalm County. There's so much here. So we have the natural resources, of course, our rivers, our lakes, and things like that. But we also have a thriving Amish community that's very interesting. We have wonderful little downtown areas here. When I think of Greenville, Carson City, Lakeview, Howard City, those are all wonderful little communities within our county, and I love that.
It's interesting that, it's small town in every town.
Right.
Yet we do have access to larger cities if we want to. I like the fact that I can go there and then come home. As a broker, you are only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. What are some of the characteristics that you look for in an agent as you're trying to decide who's going to come work for you, or how are they, that interview process?
Well, really, I need somebody that's going to be honest and forthright with high integrity. Utmost. You have to have that trust. Secondly, I need agents that can persevere. Because in real estate, there's natural cycles. There's, even in this crazy market, you have busy times and slower times. So I need somebody that can persevere through those times and still try to come out having a positive attitude. And also somebody that can serve as a coach and consultant to their clients.
Sure.
Because that's very important. Because as you know, it's the most expensive transaction you'll probably do in your life, either buying or selling a home. So I want agents that can help their clients through the process seamlessly. So that's really what I'm looking for, is people that can, they don't have to be experts at it coming in. We can train to that.
Right.
But they have to kind of have a core, I would say, personality to be successful.
On that note, we're going to take a minute right now and thank our sponsors. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to Jackie about the real estate market today. And this is in March of 2023. And we're going to dive into some of those topics. So we'll be right back. after this.
We hope you're enjoying our podcast, and we'll be back after we thank our sponsors. West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions, your IT and web hosting experts. westmichiganhelpdesk.com. And DW Video, your source for video production, websites, and your local videotape, slides, and 8mm film transfer specialist. dwvideo.com. Now, back to our interview.
Welcome back. I'm with Jackie from Century 21 Rockgate, and we've been talking about her as an agent and as a broker, but now I'd like to dive in a little bit into the wonderful world of the real estate market that probably some would look at as maybe a roller coaster ride.
Not bad.
Because you've got the highs, the lows. There's a lot of factors that determine how the market's going to go. So in March of 2023, what is your biggest challenge today?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is inventory. We are seeing a lack of inventory on the market. And the other thing is interest rates. So we came out of a year in 2022, actually 2021, if we go back farther, where we had historically low rates. And then, as everybody knows, the Feds, started increasing those dramatically last year. So that is the challenge for first-time home buyers, is the criteria just got harder for them to buy their home. With sellers, it's going to be probably not a problem to sell their home. It's where you're going to move to. So with sellers, the conversation has shifted not to, hey, we're going to sell your home. It's where are you going to go? Because they have to have a plan B.
I don't want to sound like I know really what I'm talking about here, but I would think that there's probably some misunderstandings in real estate. What are some misunderstandings that people might have about the real estate market, the way things are done, and that type of thing?
Well, first of all, in real estate, buyers need to have a down payment typically set up for their lending. There are some loan programs out there that don't require a down payment, but there is some money that has to be set aside as a reserve or in their bank account. That's one thing. Another thing is, when a buyer works with a realtor, it's really best that they associate with one realtor. If it doesn't work out with that realtor, if there's maybe a chemistry isn't right, something isn't right, they're not servicing you properly, maybe they're not attending to your needs, they're not urgent enough, then yes, go out and find a different realtor. But when buyers call different realtors, they don't understand that we only get paid when we close. So really, all the work that an agent does on your behalf before the closing is done for free. And then we get paid when the deal closes. So that is a big misunderstanding. I've had buyers call me, and I'll ask them, are you working with another agent? Out of courtesy to my colleagues, and because I don't want to step on toes. And they'll say, oh yes, but I don't want to bother them. And it's like, well, trust me.
Please, I would think that if you're signing up to help me, please bother me.
Right.
Because you're there to help, and I guess just get over that fact. I'm here to help you. Don't worry about bothering me.
Bother us. Please. We are here to be bothered.
So if somebody's getting ready to sell their home, and you talked a little bit about buyers and what buyers should do. If somebody's getting ready to sell their home, walk us through real quick. I'm looking at buying or selling. What advice are you going to give me to prep my home and do that type of thing?
Absolutely. So the best thing a seller can do, the least expensive thing a seller can do, is spot clean that home thoroughly. We all live in our houses. My house is not ready to show today. It might not be ready to show next week. But that is the best advice I can give sellers, is really spot clean your home like you're going to bring it, like you're bringing the president to your house.
Okay.
The next thing is paint. They used to say $100 on the wall is worth $1,000 in price. Now it's probably a little more than that. But paint is about the cheapest renovation you can do. And it really, on the ROI on paint is, I would say almost 100%.
Sure.
If not more. Secondly is floor coverings. They're about the next best thing. What I don't advise is doing major renovations in a home. New kitchens, new bathrooms. You'll have people gutting out their kitchens, gutting out their bathrooms. You're not going to get 100% return on that investment.
Plus, I would think, okay, this is me, and even with paint, but let's just talk about,
Neutral tones.
okay, you come in and you're thinking about doing that, maybe what I did in the kitchen isn't something you like.
That's exactly right.
You know, I mean, I would rather walk into a house and look and think, oh, that stuff's old. That's my first project, as opposed to, wow, they just put a lot of money into this and I don't like it.
Well, that's very true. I would go with neutral tones. And it really is only if it needs it.
Right.
If your house doesn't need it, I mean, let's say it's a shade of green that's not in style this year. Well, so what? If it looks good, it'll sell.
What, you mean that orange shag carpeting
Yeah.
from the 70s and 80s doesn't work anymore?
If it's in good condition,
Sorry.
it might. Some people find it endearing, but
Well, you know, maybe it's coming back around. But so there's a lot of things that as a, you know, real estate agent, a broker, you're not only working with buyers, you're working with people that are selling, and there's things that you will build trust with whatever they're doing. And it sounds like there's a code of ethics.
Oh, yes.
You know, just to make sure that from agent to agent, you know, that you guys are kind of playing well with others. You know, I think etiquette is a word that I would think would be important. Now, maybe it doesn't happen all the time, but you know, is that true?
at the national level, we have a code of ethics so that all realtors nationwide follow it. And then that trickles down to the Michigan state level and then, of course, the local level. Mm-hmm. So, yes, indeed, the code of ethics is very, very important, and we all adhere to it. So with that, there's several rules in there. Clear cooperation amongst brokers and agents, and playing nicely and treating others the way we should be. And
oh, you're going back to kindergarten?
Yes.
What you've been taught?
It's even more basic than that, Dwayne. It's the golden rule.
Oh.
That is it. Do unto others.
Yeah, that sounds great. What advice would you give to somebody that might be listening or watching us on YouTube? Remember, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under Discover Montcalm Podcast. You can also just go to discovermontcalmpodcast.com and catch everything, as well as Google Podcast and iTunes. If somebody's thinking of real estate as a career, what advice do you have for them?
I would say interview brokers. Interview 3 or 4 brokers. Make sure that the environment that you're entering matches your values. Some are very competitive. Some are maybe not competitive enough for you. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you connect with the broker that you're going to be working for. That would be number 1. Next, I would say look for a good real estate school. There's several out there.
Okay. How can somebody get in touch with you?
Well, they can certainly call us, and our number is 231-937-1077. They can go to my Facebook page, Century 21 Rockgate, or they can connect with us online on our website at c21rockgate.com.
So, number of ways to get in touch with you.
Yes.
And the address of the location here is?
220 East Edgerton. We're right downtown Howard City. Our hours are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So anybody can walk in. We're always open. And they can get a hold of us on the weekends.
And you're right across the street from the dental practice,
Yes, yeah.
and right next door to the music store.
That's correct.
So, you know, it's kind of downtown Howard City.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie, I want to thank you so much for letting me come into your office and have this little conversation with you. By all means, reach out to her online, call her. Her information will be on the bottom of the screen if you're on YouTube watching us. And then if you go to discovermontcalmpodcast.com, click on the podcast link up at the top, and you'll be able to find her. Century 21 Rockgate. It'll be right there, and you know, you can touch base with her. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Remember to buy and shop locally.
Connect and subscribe to Discover Montcalm Podcast at discovermontcalmpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Discover Montcalm Podcast. To be featured in an upcoming show, contact Dwayne at 231 650-9624. Remember to subscribe at discovermontcalmpodcast.com.